Hello, everybody. Welcome to another very exciting episode of Leaders Podium powered by Shiftz. And today we have a very special guest who also is a very close friend of mine, talking about AI, the buzzword these days, and how it's affecting or actually changing the recruiting industry. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I have Mr. Rahul Mehta. Rahul has a 20 plus years of experience in technology. I find him as one of the best minds when it comes to anything to do with product and technology and more for research on what's happening worldwide. He's also the founder and CEO of Fully Stop, a leading technology company, and is also a advisor with many young startups on their technology and product roadmap. Rahul, welcome to my podcast, and thank you so much for accepting my invite and gracing us with your presence. I'm sure everybody who's going to be listening today, they'll be learning a lot because AI right now is the biggest buzzword, and I am hopeful that this will be a very enriching conversations for everyone. So thanks, Rahul. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Rachit. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an interesting session, I think, going to be, and I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you. AI, you're right, is the buzzword, and it's beyond a buzzword because it's actually going to affect our lives for years to come. The way internet has actually changed our lives, AI, I mean, I would not call AI an AI, but then the technology that's actually been termed right now as an AI is something which is actually going to impact our lives for years to come. And I'll explain later why I don't call AI an AI right now.
Awesome. So Rahul, while I think AI is covers a very wide spectrum of things, and we keep hearing about jobs being redundant because of AI, a lot of processes being redundant about AI. The general concept is, I think people are in two boats. Some people are appreciating AI at workplace. I think others are a little scared also that how it can affect their jobs, and a lot of professions might not be relevant in the future with coming of AI. I wanted to specifically in today's podcast talk to you about the AI in the recruitment space because I think that's personally a lot of interest to me, and wanted to see that where that entire space and that entire vertical is heading, because typically recruitment was a non-tech business, right? So now AI coming into the picture, I think a lot of things are going to change. Even we as a company are adopting a lot of technologies on AI based on your inputs. So yeah, so I wanted to first ask you, Rahul, can you explain how AI is currently being utilized in the overall recruitment process?
Interesting question. AI stands to, when I said AI is not AI, it's simple things that AI as a word was coined in 1964, in 60s. So
Oh,
people actually were thinking about that as an intelligence. What is AI? Let's talk about what is AI. Artificial intelligence, right? That's what the word is, right? Whatever is intelligent, which is not made by humans or by the god, is artificial. Is that what we'd like to actually simple terms is that, right?
true.
Now, when computers were invented, whatever that maths or whatever programming could have been done and could actually build up, help humans to do tasks automatically was artificial intelligence at that point. And that was the concept around. That's the same the concept is right now.
Hmm.
Overall, if you look at the human history, all the years, I mean, since inception, every single tool that we build, the human society has built, is to actually help them complete tasks. I mean, it's a simple fact. There's no way to words it. Fire was built to cook. I mean, fire was invented or fire was used to cook. Wheel was invented to go faster. Otherwise, people would still be crawling at 5 kilometers or 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Uh, so every innovation, India, every innovation that we actually do, everything. In fact, I would actually generalize it to everything that we do is to actually make our lives easier. And today's scenario is that whatever we are now building with AI that we're doing right now is to actually take computing to the next level, whereby they can actually make our life much more easier than what it was. I mean, when the internet came in, information technology, or the ease of knowledge became easier. So it was at a click of a button. Before that, it was on newspaper or radio or a TV. Going beyond that, it was before TV. Before TV, it was radio, whatever. It was basically, so internet allowed us to do so many tasks which were so easy to be done, making
Yeah.
our lives easier. AI now will do that even further for us. So it's about saying, hey, I want to get this done without having to actually connect to a laptop or whatever it is, or simply saying it's like your assistant. Uh, I mean, the futuristic sense, you might be actually be talking to robots and saying, I want this to be done, and it'll be actually doing that work for you.
Wow.
So reminds me of a science fiction movies
Yeah.
whereby you actually get your work done by telling the robots or machines to do what they want us to do, or want them to do by us. That's all.
So,
So yeah, coming
talking
back
about
to
the
the
recruitment
question, yeah,
process.
I'll add. I was just coming to that in that
Yeah.
sense. So I was just giving you that. And so coming to the recruitment process, recruitment as inherently you're right is a very people-driven organization in processes. You need to actually look at thousands of CV to maybe fill up 20 positions.
Absolutely.
Uh, and if that is the case, it is not easy for people to actually sift through, say, 1,000 CV. I mean, if I was to look at a CV myself and I actually if I was to do a good job at looking at CV, I would at least take 5 minutes to do that. If I'm doing that CV a justice. So if you're
Absolutely.
talking about 1,000 CVs, you're talking about 5,000 man minutes. Oh, I mean, who's got that much time these days when you have to fill up 100 positions?
Hmm.
AI in this case will simply make the job of a recruiter easier and simply say, okay, this is what I want. This is my criteria for saying how I want, what kind of people I want, and what's the job role. What is the candidate expected to do? What is the expected outcome? What is the KRAs I'm expecting out of this?
Hmm.
And based on that knowledge, AI will actually sift through all the 1,000 CVs and come up with a short list of, say, 100 CVs from there.
Wow.
Takes your job down by at least 90% there. And it could even further reduce down if it's built well. It could even take it down to, say, 30 CVs, which you can easily look at with certain degree of confidence. In probability terms, there's no confidence interval saying that 90% accuracy is seen here. And we want to make sure that will be done accordingly as per the requirement that's been posted by the CV or with the recruiter. So life becomes easier for that person.
Interesting.
Um, he or she becomes a hero in front of the management. So, wow, I mean, you've got the right person in the organization within short duration time. So, which is what it is.
Absolutely. So, one interesting point you brought about is that it reduces the workload on a person. So basically, in short, it brings in more efficiency and more transparency into the system. And as you mentioned, I think the biggest pain point for any recruiter, large or small right now, is basically doing a lot of these screening processes, which I think the technology AI is able to streamline that. So Rahul, keeping in mind that a lot of our audience who might be watching us today might not be from a technology background. So, could you just explain to us that, okay, what are the different kinds of AI technologies or algorithms that are commonly used for screening or shortlisting candidates? Like, how does that process sort of work?
Mm. I actually would not like to take it into a long conversation around this, but then right now, what the buzzword is generative AI. Basically, AI works on probabilities, probability of things being correct. So they look at multiple options available to it, and they say by with the probability of saying that this is the possible outcome and the best possible outcome for this particular task or for this particular scenario is what they come up with. So based on, say, let's assume that generative AI is able to understand using natural language processing, NLP, what you're trying to tell the bot or the application that's what you need. It would go back to it would actually perform certain actions to see what is the best match for what you're trying to say, understand it, and then based on the CVs that the candidates have, it will understand what they are trying to say and match it, the best matches. So
Amazing.
it's like I'm trying to tell you something right now. Your brain is processing what I'm trying to tell you because there is intelligence here, and looks at it. Actually, it would actually look at multiple options, what Rachit's trying to say or not trying to say, make the best sense out of it, and then process it accordingly and give me the output that what I want to action it on. So that's the
Amazing.
way it
And
works.
that's being done without any human intervention.
No, it's actually all you have to do is obviously give uh, the prompt or telling
Yeah.
that person the machine what you want to do.
Amazing, amazing. I think just the sound of it, it's so fascinating. So Rahul, interesting thing you mentioned that it'll do a lot of things on its own without a human intervention coming into the picture, right? And it'll basically screen, shortlist, give you the right kind of candidates, filter to your needs. Um, so that brings to my next question that uh, one of the biggest factors when we look at recruitment is there's a lot of personal bias which might come into the picture, right? How do you through AI, how can you ensure or how do you or what is the kind of processes you're building through AI which can basically reduce the personal bias into the recruitment or the shortlisting process and basically ensure fairness and an equality to everybody who is applying.
It is machines are non-emotional.
Hmm.
Simple as that. Simple answer to that is that they are not emotional about anything. They are running on an algorithm, and what you have fed him before. So if the training is correctly done, they will act on that training itself. They would not go beyond that training or do underperform on that training. So if I tell a computer to write if I actually let's take an example of calculator. I said, I type in 2 plus 2, it would always say 4. It would never say 5 or 6. I would
Hmm.
not bring my biases and 2 plus 2, but possibly I'll also get interest of 5% every year. So one rupee is extra there for me. So that's what the whole story is in that sense, because that's what there is no bias there. It would simply say, okay, this is what I've been told to do. This is how I'm going to pick this information. This is how I'm going to look at the candidate's CV, match it with what my requirements, and then it's given output accordingly. That's it.
Got it. So, Rahul, you pointed out here about training the bot, right? About ensuring that it's trained properly. Who does these kind of things? Is it the person or the team who are coding it? Is it the people who are using it, or it just self learns through time? How does that process happen? And also, how do you ensure and how do you evaluate and access the accuracy and reliability of AI-driven recruitment tools? So how do I make sure as a recruiter, as a layman recruiter, that if my AI tool has told me that, okay, these are the best matches for me, how do I make sure that it's telling me the truth? Or these are actually the best matches for me? So one
So
question,
there's the
divided into
training.
two parts.
Yeah, yeah. I'll say one is the training of a bot, and then how it learns. Is
Yeah.
that I think what you want to actually ask? Simple reply to that is that the way to train is that you have qualified data, which is a proven fact.
Mm-hmm.
Sky is blue, so hence it would always remain blue. I mean, except for the night, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
But in the day, sky will remain always blue.
Yeah.
And that's a fact that you actually will train to your child who is not even, uh, 1 month old. I'll give another analogy to it. If you actually put a child, I mean, child is like an AI, small young born is like an AI,
Yeah.
which obviously has some genetics which actually train him for certain things beforehand. I mean, which is inherent in that, which is basically what a coder will bring in. But someone who's using it will actually say, okay, you put the child in, his newborn child in let's as an analogy, yeah, in a dark room or a room which is not accessible by humans or his mother, and well, let's assume that he's well kept by whatever way he's done or she's done. But then, uh, and every day you play you play sound like mom, 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 mom every day. It would recognize the sound mom, but it might not be able to recognize who mom is.
Got
But
it.
when you actually mom enters after a point and say, "Listen, I am mom," he would start associating that word with mom
Interesting.
over a period
Yeah.
of time. So it's the same thing, it's about the inherent need for the child is to actually be with someone, but that's what the child wants, security, and that's what his genes tells us. I mean, we always will be looking for that. Even a newborn cub in Africa, I mean, who is a gazelle, let's take a gazelle. I mean, they cannot run from a lion. They would actually get hit and they hide in the large bushes there. So that's genes that tells them that to save their lives, they need to hide in the bush. But as soon as they grow up, they know how to run faster.
Hmm.
They're trained to run faster. They know how to evade lions and all. That's training.
So,
So similar
Rahul,
to that.
if I understand it correctly, what you're trying to say is that there is a gestation time for AI to be 100% compatible for any organizational needs. And during that gestation period, there is a little bit of handholding which is needed. Is that right?
In some cases, yes, it will happen. That's what the training is. So you keep on feeding the data that you require them to fed. It would keep on learning that. So
So,
that's what
how
happens.
do you ensure
Uh,
that the data which is being fed is of the right kind, and you are giving as a layman, you're giving the right kind of tools for AI to learn itself, as you said, because in data, I think what we all know is garbage fed is garbage out, right? So how do you ensure that once a system is deployed, it's being trained in the best possible manner, in the sense that the kind of data or the kind of output which are required, because it's not what I understand, it's not like a plug and play, that I just plug it in and suddenly it just does some magic. So there is a gestation period with AI tool. Needs to learn things about my organization, what I'm looking for, and probably it can be 3 months, 6 months, year, or whatever that time frame is. But coming to the point, that how do I ensure, or how does anybody ensure that the person who is responsible for doing that kind of a training is doing a good job? Otherwise, they'll always have irrelevant results coming out.
It's an interesting question, and there's no right answer to it in my respect. I mean, you would still have errors being sent across to it, but then understand this, Rachit. If you have say 50% right data, 50% wrong data, that's very then the error rates will go up. But as and when you actually start, let's say human error is 10% on a data that's being fed to the AI. Uh, when the system becomes large enough, the error percentage will actually it would rely more on the right data compared to the wrong data. That's how it should work in the end of the day. Because they would say, okay, this is the 90% database said that's correct, that this is how the common questions are coming in. And this is, I mean, in a recruiting space, out of 100 employees that you hire, one will not turn out well.
Hmm.
So there's nothing as 100% accuracy in that sense that we have. It's about making sure we are as much as possible feeding the right information to that to the bot or the AI that you're using, so that it can actually generate the right answers for you or right tasks for you. That's how it would work.
Interesting.
I mean,
uh,
that's what is known as confidence interval. I mean, basically knowing it. What is your confidence on the AI to make sure that it gives you the right output? So that's what it is.
Got it. Interesting. So, I think because since AI is learning a lot from what is being fed to it, and I think there's a lot of data which is being fed to the systems. There is a lot of decision-making processes which the system is doing. So, what are the measures which basically one can take to ensure data privacy and security while using AI to for candidate assessments or anything? Because these can be some things which are very, very private to an organization? How do they assess a particular candidate and so on and so forth? Now, one, you are feeding something which is probably on a system and it's out there. How do you ensure that kind? Because even the candidates might be sharing a lot of their private information through AI to back to the company. So how do you ensure data privacy and security around that?
So whatever data that's been fed to AI could actually fed as an anonymous data. Name and uh, personal details can be withdrawn or cannot may not be given to that particular engine.
Okay,
That's number one. Whatever data that you have within the organization will remain in the organization. I mean, then there's data security and privacy acts which are applying to any organization.
hmm,
Even right now, with any website that you have or a mobile application, you actually have access to thousands of people's data, isn't it? So it's
absolutely.
obviously the responsibility of the organization to make sure that this data is not shared with third parties without the consent of the particular person who is actually using that application. And usually, people don't have, as long as the data is not harmful, does not harm anyone. Usually, people does not uh, have a problem in sharing that data. I
Yeah.
mean, in the end of the day, let's understand this. Google's working. Google survives because of it having our data without our knowledge as well. Things that we do on the internet, things whatever we actually share in anonymously without it is running off on whatever we are doing, we're sharing as passively is what actually allows them to be what Google is.
Interesting. Rahul, before we are just about to reach the end of our time, I have two quick questions for you. Firstly, I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you, you know, according to you, what are some interesting trends which we can, keep a close watch or which you are watching closely, especially with AI in recruitment space? Or what are the top three things in the overall recruitment space which you think AI can really take over and finish the human intervention in that aspect?
I would not say that AI can ever finish the human intervention. The role of the HR who's actually using this tool, this is always going to be the tool which is can actually make sure that the HRs are actually given a superpower.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they would be the rock stars if they actually start using this application or this technology because uh, it allows them to make sure that the right people come into play in the organization for them. And if they get the right people, then their job is done. For a recruiter, that's the most important KRA for them. Uh, so when you said what's the biggest thing that's happening in with AI here, I mean it's the simple thing AI allows us now, be it recruiting, travel, or whatever spaces that we are in, it allows us to automate our tasks
Hmm.
much more than what it used to do before. Right now, we had to actually say, give me an itinerary. I had to type in my itinerary, what I wanted to do, give me my option, search through multiple sites. I can right now on a travel site can say, I want to go to London on this date using, and this is my budget. I want to stay there for 7 days or 8 days, and it can come back with an itinerary for you.
Hmm.
That's possible. In recruitment space, I can say I want a candidate who is basically this kind of parameters. This is what my culture is. Or if I can train that bot for the recruitment platform for what my culture is based on the CVs that people already are working in the organization, I can also follow, make sure that the person I'm recruiting is fitting that culture.
Wow.
So all that is possible.
Interesting. So for a recruitment industry, it can be like a genie in the box or a genie in the bottle, right? You just rub it, AI tool comes up, you give them the right commands, and boom, your wish is completed, right? In that sense.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Rahul, thank you so much for today. Before we end, I just wanted to ask you one last thing. AI, the big buzzword, right? Is it a fad or is it here to stay? Are people just trying it out right now? कि चलेगा नहीं चलेगा क्या होगा? Or are companies actively, and by companies I mean companies who are in the non-tech space. Are they actively, deploying or using AI tools to make things better, or everybody is at a very nascent stage? Okay, we'll give it a try, we'll give it a shot. What happens? Maybe it's a buzzword, maybe it's not for us. So what are your overall what are you seeing in the market happening right now overall?
People are really keen about AI. I was just on a call with someone. I mean, I was invited for a town hall meeting in online on in California.
Wow.
There were actually around 150 people in that session, and I mean, everyone had those questions. Everyone wanted to know how I can use AI in my business. So people who are not thinking about using these tools in AI in the organization are actually going to lose their competitive advantage over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, as a development team, I mean, we're using AI to actually look at our review, our code. We're actually developing coding bots, which are actually going to supplement our coding. So, it saves me so much time and cost.
Wow.
In your space, in Shifts, for that matter, I mean, for clients or for for what you're building right now in recruitment space, if people do not adopt that, they will be far behind in terms of hiring the best talent faster.
Hmm.
I mean, I want there's always going to be a challenge finding the best person in in the industry. And everyone, if there's a upsurge in what India is seeing right now in hospitality, because everyone wants to go out and have a good evening and spend out in the evening. I mean, spend night out at the town. There is a huge demand for the right people. You need to get the right people quickly. That's the whole point around it.
Interesting.
So if you're not able to do that, you're out. Someone
Absolutely.
else will hire that candidate while you're just shifting through reading that right person could be the 1,000th CV
Hmm.
in your pile of emails.
Wow. Wow.
But because you're not able to go to that 1,000th email within the right time, you might be losing out on that.
Wow. So, is it fair or is it safe to say that AI is like the new tech revolution, which is actually going to sweep the entire industry? Like, or is it going to be vertical specific or industry specific, or how will it pan out?
It would pan out across industries. There'll be tools that will be actually be supporting everywhere in all the application development there is there. There'll be use of generative AI. Wix.com just started a complete generative AI website development
Wow.
tool there. So I was just looking at it yesterday, and then I'll be out of business that way.
No, no, I'm sure you'll keep on developing more and more things. So Rahul, I think I personally learned a lot today, and especially for a business like ours, and we are still a lot to do with technology, but I think in the overall HR space, I think it's a pretty fascinating time to see how AI is going to take over and streamline a lot of things. Especially because it's such a deeply human dependent industry, where a lot of emphasis goes on finding the right kind of people. And I was having a conversation earlier today, and interestingly we brought out two points which stayed with me today. Was that now the recruitment cycle is divided into two phases, right? First is the phase of finding the right skill set, and second, which is a good fit for the particular job, so you know that you have hired the right guy. But making sure that the
True.
guy is a cultural fit so that he stays for a longer division is a bigger challenge now, because there's such high attrition rates, and with the rising cost of employment or hiring or recruitment. I think it's very important to have a ideal match for your professional skills along with your cultural fit, to make sure that you have the right person who will stay for a longer duration time in your organizations. And I think probably AI is the right answer for that, because a lot of things in this overall are subjective. And when it comes to subjective things, I think a personal prejudice does take over how you are feeling that day, what your mindset has been as a recruiter. So I think if this is a tool which can have a no bias attitude, I think both the professional skills and cultural fit can be easily determined, and I think it's going to be a win-win for the industry. Yeah, I think it's something amazing which is coming up. Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah,
Rahul.
you summed it very well. Thank you.
Thank you for talking to us about AI, and I think a lot of us would want to know more deeply about it, about the practical uses of this. So would love to have probably another session with you sometime soon. But thank you so much, Rahul, for coming today, enlightening us with the wonderful world of AI and how in this field of recruitment it's going to come and make a change. And I think it's just uh, as the beginning of something big for all the industries, and eagerly excited to be watching this along with you. So Rahul, thank you so much for joining me. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachit. It's a real pleasure to be here, and it should be a very interesting a session that we might want to do it again. So thank you for that.
Thank you.